Hey y'all, it's Hope at Crafty Hope and welcome. It is week 2 of Crafty Hope prompts. Yo, this is a challenge I created for myself. It's got 2 parts to it. Each Monday I'm going to alter a card with 3 prompts that I draw, and when I get done in a year I will have a full deck of prompt cards. So I have a list of 156 prompts. I'll share that link below if you want to use that list of prompts either for this challenge or some other kind of prompt challenge that you want to do. But basically, like I said, Monday I'm going to create my card, and then on Saturday I'll have a project that I also made using those 3 prompts. So this is kind of a twofer. So day 1 is my is my mixed media prompt card. And then on Saturday, I will have my mixed media prompt project. Yeah, like I said, I'm still working on this, on how to describe this. So today we're going to draw my 3 prompts. So I'm going to go ahead and get my card from my deck that has not been altered. And we're going to draw our 3 prompts. I'll talk about the prompts real quick, and then I'm going to get to it and voice over that portion, I think. So prompt 1 for week 2 is Gelli-print. All right, guys. So if you have a gel print plate, you can totally do that. Make a whole gel print for yourself for this project. You can use things that have been jelly printed. If you don't have a jelly print, you can do other kind of mono printing type techniques. Use some wax paper or something like that to put some paper, some paint down on, draw a design in it, and print up that. There are lots of people who have offered up free jelly print type things online. You can just do some paint stamping. There are lots of options. If you don't have that, you can skip that prompt and do something else. You know, you can print something off of your computer or just brayer out some paint on something. Yeah, so those are kind of what I'm thinking. I'm sure something else will come to me. I may mention it on my Saturday video. All right, you see I'm already digging around for prompt 2. So let's get that. Prompt 2 is going to be letter or number stickers. So that is pretty easy. It's going to be some kind of sticker with a letter or number on it. You could even do words if you wanted, because that has letters on it. But it's going to be sticker. You can find those at the dollar store. You can get specialty ones, scrapbooking ones. I even have stickers that are stamps, you know, like you put in the mail and they have letters and numbers on them. There's all kinds of things you can peel up and use that. If you just have a blank sticker, use a stamp and put a letter or number on it and make your own sticker. Okay, so that's number 2. Let's go for number 3. Number 3, I hope it's not something so constrictive as these. And junk mail. All right, guys, so I'm going to have to fish around and find some junk mail that we will include either in this project. So that's easy enough. Pretty much everybody gets junk mail. If you don't have any junk mail, use something from your scrap bin or your recycle bin or something like that that works, or even the inside of an envelope that's, you know, from the mail. So those are our prompts today. So I'm going to get started on this. The first thing I'm going to do is get some paper down on both sides of my card. And then somehow I'm going to add a gel print, a letter or number sticker, and junk mail. Let's do this. I gave myself a few minutes to look around the craft room and grab a couple of things that pertain to those 3 prompts, and so we'll get to those in a minute. But first I wanted to put down some kind of paper on top of that playing card, because those playing cards are super slick. The other option is to like sand them down and gesso them in order to get some stuff to stick or anything. and that's a little time consuming, and I have so much like scrap paper and paper laying around that I don't see any reason not to use some of those gorgeous papers and yeah, stick them onto there. So I use some matte gel medium, and that I believe is some either coffee or tea dyed dictionary paper. It was just the first thing I grabbed out of this pile of scrap paper I have that I need to use. So I'm doing this one at a time, putting down a little bit. I do want to say that when I put the other side down using that exact same paper, it became really hard to see which side was which because they match so perfectly. It's not a big deal. It was just one of those things I was like, oh no, where do I cut to get the excess off? Because it looks all the same. See that? Um, I did try tearing some of it, especially the where there was a lot of excess I could grab onto just to, it was quicker than cutting. So it wasn't great because I will have to take a little strip, probably that little strip I'm cutting off there, to stick across the bottom here in just a second. Yeah, right there needed something. So I'm going to stick that down and give it a second to dry, and then I will get started with my prompts here. So I've got that all smoothed out nice and neat. It's no longer a playing card. And y'all, you don't, if you're going to follow along with me, you don't have to create cards if you're using those 3 prompts. You can create whatever you want. As you saw this past Saturday, I made a couple of tags using my prompts. All right, so there's a couple jelly prints I pulled out, and I'm just going to tear this one down and into a couple smaller pieces and glue it onto my card front and back. So I'm just some small pieces. I'm using my Oohoo glue stick. I wanted to mention some of the other options you might use if you don't have any jelly prints or gel plate or anything like that. I mean, for one thing, you can gel print directly onto your cards or your substrate or whatever you're using. But any kind of painty paper would work beautifully. If you've got like a piece of paper that you've been using for a palette, that would work, because as you see here, I'm not using the jelly print for anything in particular. I'm just putting it down for a little extra color on here. So anything that you've got that's like a painting paper or something you've made some painting marks on or something, or any kind of scrap paper with marks on it would work great. So those are some other options you could use for a gel print if you don't have a gel plate. So I pulled out a couple things that were considered maybe junk mail. First is, and this wasn't really junk, my husband was excited to get this, but he was done looking at it. But it's a pretty thick postcard here. So I'm cutting a little bit of a scallop shape on it to kind of use maybe as a stencil on here. I'm going to bring in some other junk mail in a minute. But again, you can, if you don't have junk mail, because I didn't really. I kind of looked around, found this, and pulled another thing out of the trash. But I'm going to be keeping an eye out this week for any other junk mail that comes in for my project on Saturday. But you could also use anything that's considered junk or anything that's considered mail. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm going to go in just a minute and show you that I'm going to use. So I've got this, it's a, what is it, folk art black paint. It's the color is licorice, and it is gotten super clumpy because it's old, so I'm trying to use it up, and a cosmetic sponge. And as you saw, I cut down that junk mail flyer and made this little stencil just cutting it down. And so I'm going to put some black marks around on my little card using it. And y'all, this, I'm going to say, this card I like so much better than card number 1 I did. When I did card number 1, I just kind of flew at it, didn't really have a plan, didn't really know how things were going to turn out. And I figured that after a while, I would kind of get in the groove of these cards and know more what I wanted to do. So this one turned out much better than card number 1. All right, so as you saw, I got some of that stencil down. This is something I fished from the trash. It's a magazine that our Energy Cooperative sends to us every month. And I don't really bother with looking through it. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't, but most of the time I don't find anything useful. For this, I decided I was going to see if I could do some kind of image transfer with the letters. And so I'm just using my Oohoo glue stick to stick down some of the like written portions in that magazine onto my card. And so while it is drying, I'm going to flip over my card and kind of look at it and start working on the other side. Oh, and for letter number stickers, I've got those two there. You can see that I pulled out a metallic set and then another set that kind of looks like a cork board maybe. But I've got my prompts here, and instead of just cutting them down into the little rectangles I did last time, I decided to be a little more fancy and curve the edges. I like keeping the white of these though, because it helps the prompts themselves kind of pop. So yeah, I'm gonna just cut them down so that they are more decorative, I suppose. So I've got those. I'm going to go ahead and glue them down also with my Oohoo glue stick. Just stick them, kind of space them. And again, I am keeping them in the same order that I drew them. I feel, I don't know, there's something about that in the end I'll have, a full line of how I drew all of my cards. So that now that those are stuck down, I think I'm going to flip my card back over and try to pull up that magazine paper to see if any of it transferred. And y'all, it really didn't. I've got a little bit of like a whiteness or something from the magazine paper on there, but I didn't get the transfer. I considered maybe pulling out my matte gel and using another page to get a transfer, but I said, no, I don't really like that. I'm going to flip through that magazine again and find something else. And I found this pretty little image here. It's an old picture of a lady. I think that article was about her cookbook or something. So, but anyway, I love the image. So I'm going to grab her. She's junk mail and stick her down. And then I will come back in with my letter stickers. And I thought maybe I would just stick them down, but they were going to get lost on that card. So I grabbed a piece of that magazine junk mail paper that I had, and I am spelling out the word joy right there just on that little scrap of paper. And I thought that was kind of funny because you can see the dictionary paper up there, and it almost spells optimism. I don't know what the word was that way. I don't think it was optimism, but it kind of spelled it. And so to have optimism and joy on the same card, I thought was kind of fun. Since there was some orange in that Gelli-print, I wanted to kind of bring that in the card a little bit more. So I've grabbed a Neocolor 2 in, it's an orange one. I'll have to look, and I'll probably put it below if I can find it. Scribbled that on there and wet it, and then decided to break out the instant coffee. So I reconstituted it and splattered it on my card. Once I got all that dry, I grabbed this is a Jelly Roll white gel pen, and I needed some white on here because that little strip with the word joy on it is white, and I wanted to make it a little more cohesive. So I circled my image of the lady, and inside my little black scallop things that I made, I'm putting just some white marks on here. Just to, like I said, I wanted that white contrast on there. So then I'm going to stick down my joy just with my Oohoo glue stick, because all of that is pretty thin since it is just that magazine, that cheap junk mail magazine. And y'all, that side is done. So I'm going to flip it over to the other side where I've just got that little bit of Gelli-print and use one of my number stickers on that same sheet and pull off the number 2 since this is my second week. And then I framed that up and decided to carry some of the darkness of that pen that I used to go around it on here and just put some black marks using that same like stencil that I created, or mask. I guess it's a mask more. And I think in a second I'm going to grab that white pen and try to make some lines on it. I should have dried this, but I didn't. Oh, I decided, because I had a bunch of that black paint still up there, and I wanted to separate those 3 prompts. So I'm going to use the back of a paintbrush to make those marks. And that paintbrush was not the best one for this, so it took me a couple tries. All right, now I'm going to try to draw some lines on that black there. And that's it. Oh, I also want to mention for the letter and number stickers, remember you can use any kind of stickers that have letters or numbers on them. I found a label on other things or price tag or any of that, or letter or number stickers. So I hope you are enjoying this challenge if you're playing along. If you're not playing along, I hope you're enjoying the videos. Make sure to give me a thumbs up and click that subscribe button. And then come back on Saturday to see what else I do with these 3 prompts. I'm not sure what it's going to be, so it'll be exciting. All right, y'all. Thanks for watching. Bye.